How many of you have been starting to receiving some sort of a random messages on your WhatsApp? Can you just put your hands up? Like, have you all received something very random from strangers? Right? Do you think that's regular? Do you think that's something coincidental? No. That's what I'm going to speak here about. Have you thought about it that this random message, what you're getting on your WhatsApp, is part of a $1 billion scam? Well, this scam is fueling not just like for the scammers, but also fueling another lot of a bigger scam, which is a human trafficking scam where more than 300,000 people are currently stuck. Well, do you think that's fiction? Absolutely not. This is the world we are living in. It's called pig butchering, and I'm here to speak about it. And also, I take it with utmost responsibility to honor those voices which were never heard, and also the voices which are still struggling and part of the scam. And I want to use this platform to raise that awareness about it. Well, before I get into how this scam unfolds, I want to explain you what is this all about. It all starts with a random connect request, which you all have got the request, right, on WhatsApp, saying that, hey, hi, how are you, right? The speaker spoke about it, how are you, right? So this is how it all started. And usually the human mind works in a way that we are all curious to speak to random message which comes, because we always want to know who is the person behind it. And the odds are that the victim responds to it. And that's when it goes to the next stage, where the scammer, who is your online friend, tries to take his time or her time to groom the victim and understand the psychology of how the victim is, and also try to understand the financial status of the victim. Over the period of time, the victim, like the scammer, starts to send pictures of the high quality lifestyle by sending photographs of a fancy car, a fancy dining spot. Well, we all love a better quality of life, foreign expeditions, right? We all love that. Well, everybody deserves one. So what happens is, eventually the victim will start believing the scammer that, yes, even I can lead that. And the scammer will reassure that you can live this life. And that's where it goes to the third part. It's called hook. I was speaking to a couple of folks here. How many of you are investing in crypto? Right? We all are aware of crypto, right? And that's where this person will say that, hey, you know what? I've got a very fancy scheme for you, where you don't have to invest a lot of money. You just have to invest a few dollars, and you'll start seeing a huge returns out of it. And you know what? Over the period of time, the trust was built between the victim and the scammer, as a result of which the victim will start investing. It starts with possibly $100, $200. And surprisingly, the victim will start getting the money, will start getting the returns of it. And they will be able to withdraw the money as well. You know what happens? The victim will start trusting this portal and also the person that, yes, I'm actually getting the real money. You know what happens? All of a sudden, then it goes to this phase called escalation. What happens in the escalation? So over the period of time, as the victim has started trusted this like scammer and the portal, the scammer will all of a sudden say that, you know what, there's going to be a huge sale going on, like a huge discount offer, where if you put a lot of money into this, you're going to get humongous amount of returns. This is a one-time offer. You should invest into this. As the victim has already started believing in this, the chances are that the victim is going to put all his lifetime savings into this with the greed that he's going to get a lot of money back. What happens? The moment you enter, the moment you put all your money, the victim will see a pop-up message that your taxes are due to withdraw the money. Why? Because they say that it's a regulation. And as a result, he keeps on paying more and more money. As a result, what happens? Eventually, the financial thing is all depleted. So he will be left with no money. And the moment he reaches out to the scammer, who is his online friend, just to realize that he's actually blocked. This person has ghosted the victim. And this is what is going to lead to what I was speaking about. The empathy here is the victim will not even lose his financial status, but also there's a void in his life because this person would have trusted this human over the period of time. What happens is, this is where the whole scam unfolds. The loss of money, mental trauma. Well, how did it all start? This is the pig butchering which I'm speaking about, right? What does it mean? Is it about butchering the pig? Not exactly. It's basically a concept which started in 2016, where online gambling was at a peak in China. So a lot of people were losing their money. As a result, the Chinese government had to take some very, very serious steps to expel them out of the China. And where did all these agencies, these gambling agencies go? They went to these fancy places which looks very beautiful, right? Like Cambodia, Myanmar, absolutely stunning places. They all went to these places which is called as a special economic zones, where they could open up casinos and there was a lot of like corrupted governments, there were corrupted government officials, there was a lot of lack of governance in those places. As a result, they started these online casinos as well as like in-person casinos in 2019. But what happened in 2020? We all witnessed the horrific COVID pandemic. So there were no tourists. As a result, there was no money involved. So the scammers basically were not getting any sort of money out of it. That's when they realized everybody were hooked onto their phones. Our speaker was saying that we're all hooked onto our phones. We all are, right? During the pandemic, it was at its peak because we were all speaking over WhatsApp, Facebook, and other social media platforms. As a result, the scammers realized, why can't we tap onto that, right? Because the reach is huge. So as a result, what they started doing was, started doing this phishing scam. How many of you have heard of phishing? Pretty much everybody, right? So they started these sort of phishing scams and trapping people because of it. And then they realized, hey, you know what? I'm trying to do this phishing scam mostly for Chinese people. Why can't I actually expand it? Because we live in a very globally connected world. Why can't we expand it? But for that, they had language barrier. That's when they thought, why don't we get people with different nationalities who speak different languages? That's when it took a different turn into something called as a human trafficking scam. So what exactly happened was, you might have seen this sort of fake job ads, right? Which is paying you an exorbitant money to come and join a different country for a new job. You know what happened? They started targeting people in Southeast Asia as well as South Asian countries to go and say that, hey, you know what? Especially for the graduates. I'm sure a lot of you people will be graduating soon. You guys will be a part of it. You guys will start seeing these sort of ads coming your way. So what started happening was the young graduates who were desperate for jobs, they kind of started becoming a part of it. They started trusting this, and they actually ended up going to these special economic zones in the anticipation that they're going to get a fancy job. And you know what happened? The moment they went there, these are real pictures, by the way, might be sensitive, but these are real pictures. The moment they went there, their passports were taken away. They were like subjected to horrific like exploitation. They were beaten. They were guarded by like armed guards there, who will not let anybody leave these places. These were called the scam compounds. The scam compounds of Myanmar and Cambodia, and even in Thailand as well, right? So they were all put into one place, and what happened was, these are the scam compounds which you are looking at. If you see on the left-hand side, it used to be a regular farmlands before, which is now turning into a sophisticated IT centers. It's like pretty much like a software engineering company, but a company for conducting scams. So these graduates, or these people who are part of this human trafficking, of the victims, were put into these sort of scam compounds and were given a quota, like a sales quota, right? I'm sure a lot of people are in sales here. They were given a quota that, you know what, within a few days, you need to reach this amount of money. If you don't reach it, you're going to be further exploited. As a result, they had no option. Just to get their passports back, they started conducting these scams. And you know what? The scams went global. If you think that this is happening only in Southeast Asia, absolutely not. There were people involved up to Brazil, United States, across the globe, right? Even in Europe, Middle East as well. So this is the severity of how the scam is expanding. This is a rapid thing which is happening around the globe at the moment. And that's why we all need to be aware of it. What is this about? And if you think that this is going to affect only like regular people like us, absolutely not. Even a CEO in a US, in a Kansas state, was subjected to this part of the scam and ended up losing $45 million. Surprisingly, it was not even his money, it was his investors' money. Think about it. And even a famous actor in China was part of this scam without realizing that he was part of it. So this is for everybody. This is not just for me or you. Everybody is going to be subjected to this sort of a scam. So we all need to be aware of it. Well, if you'd ask me, what is the next step of this scam? Where is it all leading to? We are all speaking about AI. My friend spoke very good things about the AI technologies, right? This is the next phase of it, called deepfakes. Are you able to figure out whether it's actually a real image or a deepfake image of Brad Pitt? It's pretty much ideal, right? A woman in France actually fell a trap for it, thinking that she's speaking to actual Brad Pitt, and ended up sending $800,000 to his operation of Brad Pitt in a hospital, which was apparently a fake Brad Pitt. She just realized it when Brad Pitt started hanging out with his new girlfriend in some film festival. That's how scary it is, right? You will not be able to distinguish, especially with these tools like Sora, Neo, like VO3, and all these new latest advancements happening. these tools are not just becoming affordable and easily accessible to not just us, but also to the adversaries as well. So we all need to be aware of it, that what you see and what you hear might not be what it actually is. Now, what is the economic impact about it? Because at the end of the day, it's all about financials, right? It's all about what is it happening for countries or for the people. Surprising fact, it's a $75 billion market cap at the moment. And you know what? This is only the reported ones, right? $75 billion market cap is pretty much like a proper S&P 500 company. If it was actually a company, I would have put my stocks into it because the returns are 40% year on year, right? It's pretty huge. And well, individually, what is going to happen? We all have got our senior citizens, right, at our home, our parents who are retired, our grandparents who have hard-earned monies in their banks. What is going to happen is, these senior citizens are usually targeted because they are pretty lonely. Because in this hyper-connected world, we are becoming more and more lonely. We are not talking to our seniors. We are not talking to our parents these days because we are all busy in our own lives. As a result, they are getting lonely. And as a result, they start trusting these people. And at the end of the day, their entire financial status depleted, their retirement funds are taken away, and that leads to a lot of mental trauma because it's just not the money like I mentioned, it's also the lack of trust which they will start developing in the people. And also the most important one, the reputation of the city is tarnished. For example, we are in Kuala Lumpur, a beautiful city, right? Imagine if that sort of a scam starts infecting in Kuala Lumpur. Do you think any tourist will start visiting KL? No, right? That's what is happening in Cambodia and Myanmar at the moment, that these places like Sihang Kovel, KK Park in Myanmar, everything is like totally tarnished. The legal economy is infected. As a result, the money which is coming is all like an illegal part of it. But the bigger part of it here is, it's just not the money. It's the erosion of trust in the society. See, when we speak of a society, the backbone of it is all trust. When you take a flight today, you trust the pilot. When you go to a restaurant, you trust the cook, right? Because that's how we are built. We all trust each other. No matter how strangers we are, at the end of the day, our society is built on trust. As and when these sort of things keep happening, people will stop believing in each other. As a result, the whole social fabric is totally destroyed. And we should not let that happen. Now, you might ask me, like, if we are all aware of this, why can't we stop? There's no way of it. Why is it so difficult to stop? Well, the reasons are multiple. One of the main reasons is this is like a pyramid kind of a scheme where the one who is on the top is not connected to the one in the bottom. So even if you catch hold of someone who is in the middle portion of it, like the directors of it or the controllers, you will not be able to reach out to the kingpins of it because they are possibly in a different country operating in a different entity altogether. So it becomes extremely difficult to trace them. Second thing is because of the crypto as well, like I mentioned. It's a great technology, but it has been currently been misused. And also the most important thing for governments and the law enforcement, it's not a crime scene within their jurisdiction. It is a transnational crime. As a result, it becomes extremely tough to go and kind of tackle these criminals who are based out of in different countries, especially when even the government of that specific country is actually supporting it. So that becomes the major cause. But more than anything, at an individual level, it's the underreporting. I'm sure a lot of people would have come across a lot of like scams, or you might have done something embarrassing which you would not share it, right? Why would you not share it? It's because of the fear of judgment, right? We all believe that if I share it with my friend, he's going to judge that I did something stupid. You know what? Everybody is doing, like getting a trap of it. And unless and until we don't open up and speak about it, nothing's going to happen. And like I mentioned, the $75 billion market cap is only the reported ones. Just imagine what percentage of it might be underreported, right? Well, what can we do about it? Is there a way? Yes, we got a weapon. The only weapon for here is to tackle these sort of scams is awareness. Yes, the education system, the various entities need to come together, create awareness about it, because we need to speak it out openly. We need to, when we sit at our dining tables, we need to speak it out with our families. We need to speak it out with our friends. The moment you go out of this room, give it a thought that what can I do to make sure that my neighbors, my parents, my friends, my brothers or sisters are aware of this so that they don't fall a trap for it. Why do we need to create this awareness? And why do a lot of entities need to join together? Because only when we are together, we are stronger, right? like I mentioned, the educational institutions have a huge responsibility. The teachers, the professors, they need to come together and make sure that these sort of topics are like into the syllabus as well, because this is extremely important. Because as we are becoming more and more digitally literate, we are also becoming less secure. It's not about making sure that you use all the technologies, but also knowing to know where and like how securely to use it. The second thing is big tech organization. A lot of you might be joining the big tech organization. I'm sure a lot of you might already started doing vibe coding. How many of you know vibe coding here, using AI to code, right? A lot of people, yeah, right? So use your creativity, build algorithms to kind of stop these sort of scams. And also, a lot of people here might be in like law or possibly into different political science or something. Make sure that you hold these big tech companies accountable, because they want the money, they can avoid doing these things. They can put in guardrails to control these things. So make sure to hold them accountable. Also, to my friends in government as well, you need to bring in regulations. You need to bring in the policies to make sure that these things are handled in a very, very systematic way. And also to law enforcement, handle these cases with empathy. Why? Because if you start judging, if you start like questioning, why did you do this stupid thing, nobody's going to report to you. So you also got a huge responsibility, be it Interpol or be it your local police. Make sure that when you go back, also speak to the law enforcement saying that, hey, are you aware of this scam happening? If not, please get educated about it, because you need to handle these cases. Finally, I would like to say this is a battle between truth and lies. And in the end, truth always prevails. I'm hopeful of a world where truth always prevails. Let's make sure that we win this battle, because at the end of the day, there's no security without you. So make sure that you take this with utmost responsibility. I call an action today to go and speak to your friends, to go and speak to all your family members and educate them and make sure that nobody is left behind. Thank you.